The day I became a hero, by accident. Hi. My name is Jack, and I am not a hero. In fact, if you ask my little sister, she will say, Jack is the biggest troublemaker in the world. And if you ask my mom, she will say, Jack is the reason I have so many headaches. But one day, something crazy happened, and I accidentally became a hero. The Great Sandwich Disaster. It all started on a normal Saturday. I was home alone because my parents went shopping, and my sister was at her friend's house. I was hungry. Really, really hungry. So, I decided to make the biggest sandwich in the world. I put everything inside: cheese, ham, lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, peanut butter, don't judge me, and even potato chips for extra crunch. It was beautiful. A masterpiece. But when I tried to take a bite, the whole thing collapsed like a Jenga tower. Pieces flew everywhere. Lettuce on the floor, cheese on my shirt, and peanut butter on my dog, Bruno. Bruno licked his fur and looked at me like, Bro, what is wrong with you? I sighed. Fine, I'll make a smaller sandwich. The angry cat attack. I cleaned up the mess and took my new, smaller sandwich outside to eat in peace. But the moment I stepped into the backyard, disaster struck. Our neighbor's evil cat, Mr. Whiskers, was sitting on the fence. He saw my sandwich. His eyes locked onto it like a tiger spotting its prey. Now, let me tell you something about Mr. Whiskers. That cat hates me. Every time I walk past, he hisses at me like I stole his life savings. And today, he wanted my sandwich. Before I could react, Mr. Whiskers jumped onto my head. Ah! I screamed, spinning in circles. The sandwich went flying. Mr. Whiskers leapt, caught it in midair, and landed gracefully on his feet, like some kind of ninja warrior. Then he stared into my soul, took a giant bite, and ran away. I was too shocked to move. Did I just get robbed by a cat? The chase begins. There was no way I was going to let Mr. Whiskers win. That was my sandwich. I ran after him, jumping over bushes, dodging garden gnomes, and almost crashing into Mrs. Thompson, the old lady next door. Slow down, young man, she yelled. Sorry, emergency, I shouted back. Mr. Whiskers ran into the park. I chased him past kids playing soccer, a man walking his dog, and a baby who pointed at me and giggled. Then, out of nowhere, I tripped over a rock. I flew through the air like a superhero, but instead of landing like one, I crashed into a giant trash can. Bam! Lettuce, banana peels, and an old sock flew everywhere. Everyone in the park turned to stare at me. A little boy whispered, Mommy, is that man okay? I sat up, covered in garbage. I was definitely not okay. The real trouble begins. Mr. Whiskers sat on a park bench, still eating my sandwich. You win this time, cat, I muttered, but then, I heard something weird. Help! Help! I turned my head. An old man was standing near the pond, pointing at something. I looked over, and my heart stopped. A little girl had fallen into the pond. People were panicking. Someone yelled, Call the police. Another person screamed, Somebody do something. Without thinking, I jumped up and ran. Now, let me be honest. I can't swim very well. The last time I tried, I sank like a rock and had to be rescued by a lifeguard named Steve. It was embarrassing. But today, I didn't think. I just jumped into the water. The hero moment, kind of. The water was cold, and my shoes felt heavy, but I kicked my legs and reached for the girl. "Grab my hand," I shouted. She did, and I pulled her up. The crowd cheered. That boy saved her. I felt proud, until I realized something. I couldn't get out. My foot was stuck in the mud. I started panicking. Little help. A strong man in a superhero t-shirt jumped in and pulled me out. I coughed up some water and looked around. People were clapping. Someone even took a picture. The old man patted my back. "Son, you're a hero." I smiled. Me? A hero? Then I saw Mr. Whiskers still sitting on the bench, watching me. And guess what? He was still eating my sandwich. The aftermath: by the time I got home, I was soaking wet, covered in mud, and smelled like garbage. My parents were shocked. "What happened to you?" Mom asked. Dad stared. "Were you swimming in a trash can?" I told them the whole story. The sandwich, the cat, the chase, the pond, the rescue. Mom blinked. "So you saved a girl's life, by accident?" I nodded. "Pretty much." Dad sighed. "Jack, you're the weirdest hero I've ever met." I grinned. "Thanks, Dad." And that's the story of how I became a hero, completely by accident. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I never got my sandwich back. Mr. Whiskers won that battle.